Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm a little country, so I talk a little country. I don't know if anybody is going to view this video. And I'm not trying to cause no rift raft. I ain't trying to be cute either. Just, I got my home gear on. I ain't got no more makeup. But I just want to talk about a few things, you know. Firstly, I just want to talk about how we as a people don't don't know our history. You know, we go by what's being taught to us in certain books written by certain people. I'm not saying names because you know how people are, but yeah, I ain't get cute. I don't know, I might throw on something cute next time I do a video. But I'm just getting started. I throw on some lip gloss though. But yeah, it's just our history and our heritage. I just really don't believe that we just, just dropped over here on some boats and didn't know nothing. Didn't know our booty. Didn't know our booty from our feet. And I have been doing some research for a good while on black people. And I don't really know if all this stuff is true, but I just be finding out some stuff. And I want to play a video of this older lady talking. Some information I found out. It's this video that I want to reference by Doni Glover, DoniGlover, and it's called Black Indians, Indigenous Americans. And I want to just play this for you. So, I don't know if they're going to do no talking. So I guess in this video, it ain't no talking. It ain't no talking. They just show pictures. I don't have no good equipment, or I don't know how to edit. So I don't know how to. This is as raw as it get, I swear to God. This is like talking on a Face app. These are some pictures of some indigenous Americans. So that's Doni Glover. I'll leave references at the bottom. And here go another video, Indigenous Black and Irreconcilable Identity. But the person who posted this video is Aga Khan Museum.
Thank you for that hushed pause. My name is Sarah.
I'll play a little bit of it.
To these questions, except my name is Raymond Two Hawks Watson, and as I mentioned, I am CEO and founder of the Province Cultural Equity Initiative, which is one of the lead sponsors on the 7th annual New England Native American Culture Week. Before I go any further, I do want to take a moment to
if you want to find it, you can.
We'll start with our fantastic sponsor this evening.
I lost it. But here's another video called Indian Slavery and Unspoken History, and that's what I be talking about, like the whole history ain't been told. And this is from Brown University. It's called, I'll leave a reference of this one for sure.
National Park Service for the powwow we'll be doing, and I'm going to touch base on some of the events that have been taking place this week as well. Eastern Medicine Singers, and Chief Darryl Black Eagle Jameson is here as well. He's the head of the Eastern Medicine Singers Drum. Very supportive since we've started.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my mess.
And basically, all of the individuals who, in their individual capacities, come out to support and raise awareness about New England Native American culture, because we found that it doesn't necessarily get the attention or awareness raised about it that other Indian cultures in North America and beyond get. So we really started this 7 years ago in a conversation between Jen Giroux from Rhode Island College and myself about the interest in just raising more awareness about the cultures that were specific to this area. It started off with just a conversation about having a powwow, but we soon realized that just doing a powwow wasn't enough, because people come to powwows and they leave without really understanding anything about the culture. It's more of a spectacle for them, and we definitely like to share our culture in that way. But we wanted to encourage actual academic sort of dialogue and conversation and learning. We wanted to facilitate learning about our culture, our history, who our people are. And as Creator would have it, we're here on our 7th year, so it's been a fantastic week of programming thus far. We started on Monday with a panel discussion entitled Squanto, Friend or Foe, which was held at Rhode Island College, and we discussed the historical figure Squanto.
So that's the beginning
and actually
of the
realized
video.
that's not actually his real name. It was it Tisquantum? And Squantum means man in Natick. So we were basically calling him man. And the role that he played, getting kidnapped, taken over to Europe, finding his way back, getting kidnapped, brought back over there again, and then eventually making his way to be a translator between the Indians that were in the area and the colonists, and all of these, for lack of a better term, drama that came out of that and how it's impacted us even until this day. So it was a very lively discussion, pretty well attended, and it was a great way to kick off the week. Tuesday, we had a Nkomo Mswemi drum social in the courtyard for Roger Williams University School of Continuing Studies. It was an excellent event, and it was a great way to show right in the heart of the city that our culture is alive and well. So if people were driving down Empire Street, riding by AS 220, they saw
Mayans with temples and sacrifice killings and things like that. They're not even a warrior race to that extent. So Aguevana goes back to Spain with Ponce de Leon, and Ponce de Leon comes back with an armada and begins the wiping out of the Taino Indians. So in 1501, the Spanish crown then approves the export of slaves from Spain to the Caribbean, to the Americas, to all of their colonies in that area. And by 1508, 1510 is when colonization takes full flight. And so by 1509 is when they establish repartimientos. And essentially what that is indentured servitude. And it consisted of distributing among officials and colonists fixed numbers of Indians for wage-free and forced labor. And so the crown then instituted something called encomienda, which is supposed to replace repartimientos after priests were in an uproar about the treatment of these indigenous people. So Spain, being the colonizer, just rebranded slavery. And then by as the Taínos saw Spaniards coming with their ships and weapons and things that they had never seen before, they thought they were immortals. And so Cacique Yuaran and his warriors, as the story goes, drowned San Diego, which was a conquistador who was notorious for beating, killing, and raping Taínos. They drown San Diego and watch him for 7 days to make sure that he doesn't rise. And when he doesn't, word spreads across all of the islands that the Spaniards are not immortal. And an uproar begins, and Spain then begins a war against Taínos. And what was once kind of like a soft enslavement became an all-out slaughter and full enslavement, to which many Taínos fled to the mountains or off the islands. And many died along the way, but they also dispersed to parts of South America and the Gulf Coast. And so by 1513, African slaves are introduced into the islands. And by 1517, King Carlos V authorized the importation of 4,000 slaves to the Caribbean. So from 1520 to the 1800s, there was an ongoing slave trade that passed through the Caribbean. And as you could imagine, by this time, as they're colonizing the United States, it's continuing on through the Caribbean. If anyone saw the movie Amistad and the fort in San Juan, it was a major port for the slave trade. And so by 1803, all the major global powers were starting to abolish slavery among their colonies. The British, the Dutch, the French. Spain, on paper, abolishes slavery in Puerto Rico in 1873. However, I have an image during the Spanish-American War and the signing of the Paris Treaty. The United States develop a baseline census, 1899. You can actually go to census.gov and find the census. It's the baseline census for Puerto Rico by the U.S. Taken in 1899, that enumerates coloreds, free and enslaved, men and women. And so at some point in time, there was an agreement to adhere to the abolishment of slavery, but obviously there wasn't in the U.S. as they start enumerating individuals in Puerto Rico are now they're documenting slaves there, and colored slaves. So what's also interesting about the 1899 census of Puerto Rico is that they also validate the existence of Aborigines. So they mention in this census that Spain for a long time was boasting about the genocide and the wiping out of the Taínos. Yet, what the census says is that there are captains who are scouring the land as they start colonizing and taking over and finding Aborigine, this is a quote, Aborigine-looking people with wide noses, flat in the front and back, who are who must be Aborigines and disproving the claim of Spanish census, because Spain kept census as well. So that was their, Spain tried to establish the paper genocide of Aborigines by just calling them dark slaves, and the U.S. creating a baseline census references Aborigines as people in the mountains in 700 or 800 numbers, but anyone who was of a darker complexion was either white or colored. There was no acknowledgement of Aborigines or Indians, Taínos in particular, after that census. They then become Puerto Ricans. And so the classification begins that way and continues to today. So that is what we know through documentation and oral history of the enslavement of the Taínos, who have become modern-day Puerto Ricans today. Thank you.
Let's thank Dr. Palermo one more time for that announcement.
All I have to say is,
Sometimes with Chief Two Hawks saying, I
everything
wish
that he was saying was
not
true.
been so friendly.
The Aboriginals was,
The spirit of humanity is extremely important.
like you said, there was, communication about them not liking how the Aboriginals was
And
treated,
I'm grateful for that.
which is still going
Because
on
that's the
to
only thing
today,
that can help us heal.
December of 2020. And
So thank you again, Dr.
also,
The next speaker
what else? What did he say?
is Margaret.
Oh yeah, there was a
Who's going to share
genocide.
with us about slavery.
Mhm.
Let's in advance, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have any slides, and I wonder if
And
the
I guess
media
it was
person
like
or if we
indigent
have any control over the
and
light, if that can go off.
indentured servants
Welcome.
at the
Just so now I
beginning.
can see you.
Maybe there was a
my name is
famine, maybe they
Marjorie
didn't have enough
O'Toole.
resources to
I'm
take
the
care of
director
their
of the
people,
Little
their
Compton
tribes,
Historical
whatever.
Society. I've
But
done that job
it
for
turned
about
into
10 and a
something
half
so
years
much
now.
more ugly.
And I love it.
And it's in the end
I
result
am
was either
also
genocide,
a
raping,
second-year student in
mistreatment,
Brown's
the
Public
same thing that
Humanities
goes
program
on
for my
today.
master's degree, but I go
There is
part-time.
nothing new under
So
the
although I'm a
sun.
second-year student, I've been doing it for 6 years, and I
But,
have another year and a half.
That video was called Indian Slavery and Unspoken History. Again, I want to say, I'm watching this stuff with y'all. I'm watching this stuff with y'all because, I know that there's more to the story, and a lot of people have scolded me in the past about me speaking the truth about the real black history. All of us did not come from a slave ship packed like packed like sardines. The indigenous people who were already here were like my color, and I'm black as hell. So, there's another video that looks very, very interesting. It's a short video. It's called Black Indians, an American Story. The uploader is Buffa101. That looks really, really interesting. It's a short video. But I'm going to go ahead and play this jaguar bird video. They're the uploader. I'm going to put this in the reference list as well, up under the description and title. It's called The Black Indians and Freedmen Peoples, the Black Seminole People, History and Culture. So I'm definitely put this in a reference. Let's see. Oh, the sound has been turned down on this. That's crazy. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, here go a video that I don't mind having you guys look up and listen to for a moment. It's called Black Indians, Who Are You? And I'm gonna put this in a reference as well. I don't know about that video that has no sound. I don't know what's up with that. It was a picture I wanted you to see. It went away. I don't know. I just really want you to look at these videos that I'm going to put in a reference. And that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about. Basically, there was a lot of black Indians here before slavery. And I just really don't appreciate the fallacy that's being told to little black girls and boys that we came only from slave ships. Here's another video that I would like to reference. It's called American Indian Origins of Black American Culture. And the uploader is the Red Road East. That's another video I would like you to check out.
The people who express themselves in the format that Great Spirit wanted them to express the energy.
And I don't really want to bring religion into this, but just because you are a black indigenous person doesn't mean that you didn't worship the original way of worshiping Yeshua and Yahweh. And yes, I do believe in the Bible, but we're not going to get into that right now. And I do praise and worship Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I mean, well, Yeshua. I do worship Yeshua and Yahweh, Ashaya, Aha, Ashaya, but that's a whole nother video. I just want you to listen to some of the things that this lady has to say. These videos will be, again, at the bottom of the description for reference.
You have the people of Australia, and they have a beat.
Hold on, wait. It keep cutting off because I keep setting it down.
You have the people in the Middle East, they have a beat. You have different peoples from different parts of Africa. They have a beat or a heartbeat that they are associated with our Mother Earth. The same in terms of our people here. Like, for instance, the stomp dance. The stomp dance is done differently here than it is done on the other side of the Atlantic. It deals with the connection with the earth, of Mother Earth, of the feeling that we do. And today you see many colleges and different organizations having stomp dance competitions. That deals with here. Yes, there is a type of stomp dance in Africa, but there is also the stomp dance here. One thing that you made me...
Well, before you're jumping ahead a little bit,
Okay.
and I know that's on the agenda, but before you get into that, I wanted you to pick up where you left off with the wannabe, because that's where we left off on the last show.
The wannabe situation is very delicate. Are we dealing with society? Are we dealing with genes? You know, are we dealing with the cultural aspects of where are we coming from with that? Now, you have organizations that have come up with this philosophy that if a native person wears their native regalia outside of being in a powwow, or their native clothing outside of a powwow, they are considered a wannabe. Now, I find it to be ridiculous. Native American people are who they say they are, and it is an insult to many people who have been called wannabes for wearing their native culture. It's absolutely ridiculous. Many elders find it to be a total insult. They want to wear their clothing. They want to wear their jewelry. Why not? This is an economic thing as well. What, we don't buy anything from native people who are making these sort of things? You know, this is not something to be hanging in a museum as they would like you to do. It is our culture. You have everybody on the freaking planet, excuse me, wearing European clothing, all right? And that is acceptable. But the moment that indigenous culture wears their own clothing, we're looked upon as being wannabes.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. You
Now,
know?
how did that? Now, you say there's an organization. So, give us a little bit of background about this organization.
There is a organization, and actually, it's coming out of the West. Especially, it is directed, I find out, more so to people in the East. The Eastern Native American people that they are wannabes. But the thing is, according to, I believe, the daughter of the last chief, when Europeans came here in the first place, she described it as a gigantic wave hitting the eastern coastline, so that culture for us was so bombarded with the energy of what was coming at us that much of our culture had disappeared or was forced from us. By the time that wave or tidal wave hit the Midwest and the Lakota and the Midwest tribes, they were able to some degree to hold on to an essence of who they were. Whereas here, the I would call it the Jackson period, President Jackson, who said the best Indian is the dead Indian.
That's right.
Okay, when he came along and who was fighting those and pushing all of the native people to the east, this is what we had to deal with. So the idea was being able to hold on to something, to grab onto something, was essential to our mental and physical survival in a way. You know, the wannabe situation is ridiculous. Going back to the fact that people here have been told not to wear their clothing, and then not to wear any of these other sort of things. And then going back, there is actually an organization, can't remember the name of it at this time, that goes about to all the different groups calling themselves what they call themselves, especially within the Chalagi Nation, that these are wannabes and they should be, and their organizations should be disbanded. Now, I do understand that there are individuals who have created organizations in order to steal from the people.
Yes, and that is true, and it gives, it gives a bad name,
yes,
to those of us who are legitimate
and who are doing their best to bring back to their descendants, hopefully, the culture. So we understand where they are coming from, but 9 times out of 10 it deals with a $5 Indian descendant who wishes to destroy any chance of our people ever getting retrieving that which was taken away from us. You see, so you've got people just recently. A DNA test was done on a group of people. And they found out that 9 out of 10 of these people calling themselves Cherokee were Welsh, Irish, Scottish, German, okay? And not one person with this particular group had one iota of indigenous culture, unless it was indigenous, to Europe, okay?
That's right.
And that happened just recently. You know, they even wanted to be saying that they were the original Hebrews.
Yeah.
Okay, and unfortunately, nothing of that which they were claiming was true.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we will get into our next topic of discussion, which is Indigenous American influence.
So, everything that she was saying was true. This is deep. I just really want everybody to take on this. If you do happen to come across this video and watch it, I really want your opinion on, who was really here in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? They want to say that all blacks come from these slave ships packed in sardines. I just can't see that. I just can't see people agreeing to allowing this to happen in their own nation and not fight back, not have a war. Maybe they were tricked into some type of servitude because they ran into a famine and the other people may have had resources that they needed, more advanced resources, and maybe tricked into indentured servitude and then turned into slavery, really bad, horrific slavery. I'm not trying to bring that back up. That's the past. But to hide a whole race, heritage, the fact that a lot of these countries were inhabited with people my color fully, and the fact that we basically were wiped out in our history is disturbing to me. So me and amongst other people are bringing to light the fact that the natives that were here were my color, were black people.
Yes, our cultures are definitely.
And my belief is only some of the people were brought over here in ships and turned into slavery. I believe that the people that were here was tricked into slavery. So
that comes
you
from our
don't have to
culture
take
in
my
terms
word
of
for it. I have a couple of references
many people will only
that I
have it
will put
associated
at
with,
the bottom
Africa,
of my
but
video.
there was stop dancing here. You don't
And
get to see a representation of it
that's all.
in a more